please show me your hand, thumbs up or hand, and so that I will know that you are back. Okay, thank you. Okay, 4, 5, 9, 10. Yeah, if you're back, please show your thumbs up. Thumbs up. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so that is I will know that it's you're back, and we can start the afternoon session. Okay. I think maybe most of us is come back already. So okay. So let's recap on the previous lecture. Our previous lecture, right? There is a lot of arguments. There is software architecture is not required after we know that is how we do in the agile practice, but based on these diagram, right? So individual requirements need to settle within the sprint to deliver MVP. That's why it is architecture roles may be lesser, right? Based on the context of a project, maybe lesser, maybe more architecture focused. However, we cannot omit architecture because it is a fundamentals. That is what we discussed. And based on the context, these are the some of context that is we can try to show based on this textbook that the how much is the age of a system, what is the stability, then we will decide how much more architecture need to consider inside and how much less. Okay, so this is once we go through, we will say that it is envision architecture is required at the very beginning of a project in the Sprint 0, so even before Sprint is started. So then over here, right, in the actual world, there is a lot of people say, do we need to count this architecture and initial architecture? So normally after we during this pre-stage negotiation stage, after understanding of the requirements from the user, if there is a project is about to happen, the team is start working behind the scene, right? Start coming up with this initial architecture, so that is will be ready once it's kick in for the team and for able to reference for the team and use to communicate with the stakeholder. So these are the things that is I would like to share. This is a life cycle, another way of seeing through the sprint iterations. We will try to find the suitable model or reference framework that it is you prefer or suitable for the requirement. That is exactly how we do, and we use the envision architecture not directly, but so we refer to it, and we will start the Sprint 1 and the end of the project. So we do the case study, and case study is all these the old-fashioned web-based bookstore applications. So step by step, based on the business requirements, we will roll out accordingly every sprint, so that it is even we have an envision architecture, we not applying straight away in the Sprint 1. That it is overkill. So we try to fine tune and only apply what is needed for the requirements. So same for the Sprint 2, 3, and etc. And finally, this is a overall evolutions of architecture for this web-based bookstore. As you can see, this final Sprint 5 architecture, it is a little bit different from what we envisioned, but even though it's a difference, we don't need to worry, because as long as it is requirements fulfilled, we are okay, right? So at the same time, we are discussing about the agile design. So this is where the design pattern and design principle understanding is a little bit more involved, because we need to be able to detect the design smell. Okay, so design smell is there it is some of things that it can decay, right? It is slowly out for the complex or very difficult design. The way of thinking in this architecture is bad, and at the end, right, we cannot modify or we cannot add in any additional features. Something like this is what we not design. So that's why it designs well and do refactoring accordingly. So once we understand this perspective, we improve our design. The next thing that we're going to do is refactoring. So as I mentioned in the previously, once we have this understanding about this TDD life cycle, we will also see that it is red green, right? Refactor life cycle. If you still remember, that is where we going to see this life cycle after we improve a design. The refactoring it is start rolling out. So maybe to refresh your memory, let me right. Let me refresh your memory by showing this red-green refactor. We have a design task. The task is filled, and then we implement the code. And once we improve the design, now it's a refactoring. So once we do the refactoring, we do the code refactoring, but at the same time, we will minorly adjust the design refactor at the same time. How we do it, we will discuss in this refactoring lecture. Yeah, so this is a TDD life cycle. So we are here, and once we do the refactoring, normally we do this is in code review sessions. Once it's finished, we will complete the sprint, and we will go to the next sprint to tackle more next problem. Okay, so this is again, like I mentioned over here, refactor will be discussed in this today now, right? It's sessions. So I will start now. So any questions, please do let me know by the typing in the Zoom chat. Okay. So right now we will keep dive into the refactoring. Okay. So let's start refactoring. So refactoring objective for this module, it is also be able to design the design. Identify the design and code fragment that can be improved. So there can be improved it sounds like it's a very subjective, right? It is as a developer, the one that I think it can be improved, it might not be that way for the other developer. But that's why it need to be very objective. If we think that it is the accept for yourself, other party it is found like it is not readable, and also there is a deeper it root the deeper issue for the long run. Then that is definitely you cannot deny this can be improved. So this is all we say need to tackle objectively and need to improve the design of a software by using refactoring technique. Okay, so this will be helping to improve as well. How we do it? Along the way, you will be able to understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, so let's begin. Why we need to refactor? Okay, so again, just now we want to improve and refactor. Why? Why we need to do that? That is the first questions we need to tackle. And in order to answer these, okay, these are the following code that is we observe, right? So I copy from somewhere else, but the reading this code, I immediately have a lot of questions, right? The method it is called method system. I don't know what is method system. Never mind. It may be 1 to 6. Okay. So, but it is method, right? And there is an Iron Man. Okay. So Iron Man, why it is Iron Man? Maybe anything related with this method, there's none. After I read it out, there is a for loop 1 to 9 and incrementer. So every 1 and 5 odd number, they will be printing out the stars accordingly. But to print out the star also line by line, you copy and paste. which is very inefficient. At the same time, as you can see, a lot of messy if-else conditions also. I don't know what's going on. Ironman, by reading, don't understand. If the developer really like Ironman, he should put in somewhere else, not in this code, right? Because that is where the meanings should bear with it, all these variable. And of course, this is, you decide whether this is should be refactor or not. Definitely, right? It's very dirty also because you see, instead of using sensible for loops, you just the programmer, this programmer just copy and paste for 5 times. It's 7 inside. Why not they copy and paste? This guy will copy and paste, right? Is 7 times. Or why this for loop also 9 and then 9? Why printing is up to 5? So a lot of questions. I would say that this is a very bad example of writing the code, and because you don't have any idea from this what's going on, you need to spend time, right? A little bit more time to know that what is going on, especially you reading all these parameters name. So this is not a good practice, right? So in this case, this is the outcome. We need to definitely need to be refactor. And I understand that we all are having a deadline, very tight timeline to deliver the things. So there is a lot of compromise. So developer need to meet deadlines and produce poor design and messy code as the result. That's why when we want to do this kind of code review, right, you also can request to do these refactoring sessions to improve the code, dedicate it, so that it is making as a habit. You will really have a time to improve the code. So sometimes the software is so complex and it becomes spaghetti and difficult to read, difficult to maintain, and extend in the future. And no need to say, right? You as a new developer or newly joined for that particular project, you've been assigned to join. You seeing these kind of codes, right? It is really discouraging, especially, right? We all know that the previous developer is no longer in the project. You don't know where to go and ask what's going on. That is really, really painful process, because you need to, the worst case, you need to write from the scratch. You may feel like, okay, I write from the scratch, that is the easiest way. So in that case, it really waste of time, waste of a resource in there. That is where we put the efforts and time for refactoring to do the maintenance easier, readable, and also, of course, more agile. Right? It's a simple approach is the best. So every agile approach, right, that behind there is a lot of implementation is designed to be a more simple and explicit, so that it is communication easier. Again, don't forget communications. Every time you want to refactor, or you need to communicate with your stakeholders, and you say why and etc. So it's really makes sense and logical. Definitely people will give in, all right, allocating the time for refactor. Definitely, sometimes you really don't have a choice. There is a very tight timeline, and you need to let go. But try your best to catch up in the next sprint or next month. Okay, design and code involved. So previous example, then that is where I would suggest, right, if you are the one that it is refactor for the previous code, this is a way we. So the method name itself makes sense about it. Right? You read it, you know that what is the purpose of this method. You don't have a second thought that is what it's doing. Right? Print odd number and star. That's it. And 1 to 5. That's it. And also here we will put the extra for printing out the star according to the number that is being chosen for the odd number, right? Then that's it. It's as simple as that. But by looking at this and by looking at just now method system IM1 case, right, obviously spending time to understand the code, right, it is a lot lesser. And the effort that we need to put in, that is where, I mean, if we set the rules and regulations inside for this practicing this refactoring and of during the code review sessions, okay, that will be saving quite a lot of time for. Slowly we will improve and evolve, but that will be helping a lot in the long run, isn't it? So that's why we want to refactor. We clean up the messy codes. That is number one. Increase readability and understandability. All ability will be improved, right? Like what we see in this method system and just now print out odd number and star. Obviously, right, we can say reduce a long debugging time. This is a very simple, small methods. Of course, complicated. Just you need to really break down into the details, and life will be a lot tougher and improve for poor design. So this is also can impact the design perspectives also. Of course, right? The design here, I really not touching much, but as along the way, right, in the workshop, you will see also if we do so, there will be impact on the design perspective as well a little bit, and not much, but it is really helpful and to improve the whole design architecture and prevent this design decay. So design decay meaning is it is too complicated and they cannot move on, right? You cannot touch this code anymore. You rather start from scratch again to deliver the result or to perform the functions. That is really waste of time, isn't it? Yeah. So that is why we need to. So once we understand the why, and we need to understand what. Right? What is refactoring actually? So in order to answer this, we say that it is changing the software system that is not alter the external behavior, but internal structure to improve. So based on this picture that is put there, as for the car exterior design, we don't need to care. A little bit more on comfortability, for example, or performance of car inside in the engine department or the driving mechanisms you go and manipulate, and also improve the whole internal, okay, working mechanisms. But that is also another problem that is you're going to face. If in that case, right, stakeholder will come and say, hey, you don't change anything, but yet you say you need to spend time by refactoring. What is the point? Right? So that is where you need to convince also. The long run, there will be it's like a TDD cycles, right? Initial one, you need to put the time and effort for creating the test case, systematically, and then do this for maintainability. You may be doing this refactoring, say for that purpose, right? More and more improving the design architecture perspective. That would really go a long way. And especially, right, is one that is some project very tough, distributed teams is there, and turnover rate is very high, for example. That is where you will see maintainability improve. That is, you need to convince internet structure need to be improved to communicate better, and also efficiency will be better also. Okay, so these are the refactoring techniques. So later a little bit more details, what technique is what and etc. I will go into. But here by seeing itself, not much understanding. Okay, you add a parameter, extract class, and extract a hierarchy. Yeah, so there is a few techniques that is. So in order to learn these techniques, right, I will say that you should learn from the book again, from refactoring. So there is a very good book in internet. Some article is sharing. Some of the developers share this their experience, and if you really want to know in details all the possible techniques or tips that they say you want to learn. Just now, the guy called Martin Fowler, he is one of our other very famous book written by Martin Fowler for Factory. So there is a last time more sharing in his web page, but however, he encouraged, of course, right? It is for to learn from the book. So you get the copy of this Martin Fowler refactoring if you can, and learn and practice it. That is the only way that is you can do this code smell and apply the relevant techniques. So here I will say that it is exercise and the lecture, right? Give you the some teaser. Okay, this can be applied in such a way in this case, and as some common issue you can apply for that techniques, and some of issue that is you commonly see. Then I will try to demonstrate, and you guys go to workshop. But in depth, right? Individual technique have a lot of helpful concept why we want to do. Really this coupled with the design perspective also. But again, try to practice from the book again after this course also. If you really want to excel in this refactoring, and this really will help not only for yourself, you can help your team. That is in the other way you can help yourself also. Okay, right? Your life will be a lot easier by refactoring regularly, and the team is doing the same as well. So a little bit more bonding and easy to communicate. So this is another thing that is one of example. So the person, we create the person class that will be have some attributes, name, email, destinations, telephone, right? This is phone, area code, phone number. So this it is under the person class. Then there is a getter called get telephone number. Then you have another class called office. In that office also need to have a phone. Okay, so be mindful, right? Nowadays office phone is virtual already, so no longer really have a physical phone. Anyway, we will say that office number have a telephone for that class also. How many attributes, right, you need to create in the office class? Say like a person, right? It's telephone, area code, number, and to getter also. But in that case, if you need to add in country code in telephone, right? Last time it is a region, country, only Singapore. It will be expanded for the regional. Then definitely you need to add in the country code. Then you need to change. If you stick with this class, right? How many times you need to change? 2 class you need to change, right? Person and office. So that is where redundancy, right? So here, if we do the refactoring, technique call is the extract class. We extract from the class the attribute that is really commonly used, right? It is, for example, telephone is using by the other class. You just extract it out and just create as a class. That would be really meaningful because there is more and more other class, okay, in the future, office, it may be other classes need to call out this phone number, right? It's a home phone need to declare, for example, right? It is for e-commerce, if for the office and home, and there is a warehouse address, warehouse phone, for example. Then you just call out this class, that's it, right? So this is one way we call this extract class technique. Is it better? I would say that it's a lot better. Right? It really easy for use in the future if you can foresee that more classes need to use that telephone in the future. And also, right, of course, right, you can change telephone and phone number, right? If there is some discrepancy that only for calling, only for messaging, etc. You can do only in this telephone class, not in somewhere else, right? This is a lot more easier, right? So if you know why, how you going to refactor Okay, so like I mentioned verbally just now, we need to do the code, detect the code smell and do the refactoring technique. So this is again, right, how to refactor. We are talking about baseline is DDD because we need to remember, every time we make a changes, even for the refactoring, we do the refactoring, we have a fear, right? Right now, the code is working fine. You want to improve it. Then after improvement, the code is not working anymore. That is disaster. Then people will say, you in the sprint review sessions, my code, I should be able, the code should be able to run perfectly fine. But I do refactoring and now it's not working. Then this is not the way, right? Isn't it? So that's why then you don't know. Sometimes you not say out loud, but you're not sure. Is it working fine? Like before the refactoring, you also not sure sometimes because you do refactoring, then you don't have much time to do testing properly. That's where the DD automations stuff coming in. With the one button, click, the test is there. Once all the test cases pass, you have a confidence. After refactoring, it will fine also. So you improve a design, you improve your readability. At the same time, the code working fine. That's why we need to do it. So this is all packaged together. So firstly, the first step, how you're going to refactor, make all the tasks pass. Again, if you never make sure all the tasks pass first, and you refactor, this is really dig your own grave. That is very, very terrible mistake if you do that. Normally people won't do because it will getting more complicated. Then find the code smell. So code smell. So what it is the code smell? Like I mentioned, the code smell is there is some trigger rooted with the bigger problem or issue behind. So just now, what I give you an example from the extracting telephone. So telephone class itself, dedicated class itself, existing. It is very good because in the future, you can foresee that phone will be getting more complicated, for example. That is business requirement. But sometimes the code smell itself is too long to read. The method is too long. The parameter is fuzzy, too complicated here and there. The hierarchy, it is not clear. Dependency is too much, etc., etc. These are the things that it will impact your maintainability. Last time we say about previous lecture, right? I said there is a design perspective, design principle perspective. Every time when we design, also you need to create an object, right? It is based on the unit of behavior, and inside there is an individual, right? Method is a minimum requirement. We don't need to add in whatever needed, create a method and try to, that is not. So again, here based on the simplifications that we require for agile practice, we determine the simplification, make the simplifications, remove it, and then run the test again. Then if test is passed, you tackle another code smell. So one step by one step. Okay, so in that case, right, you will see is just now I mentioned code smell is a characteristic that you can detect in the resource code, or possibly indicate the deeper problem. Normally, code smell, how you going to say, I don't know how to detect this code smell. Again, this is practice and experience. The more you practice, the more you will be able. But don't do over, right? If you are trying to make it too perfect, also life is a lot miserable. Not only you, right? It is your team member. You need to know where to stop it, and proficient. That is where you can limit by the time that you get it. So refactoring, right? You say, oh, my code is so still very messy. too much obsessed with this kind of cold smell, and you really want to improve, then that also really waste of time and also waste of the whole team member time as well. Okay, so that's why I know that individual preference, way of coding, not saying, but however, you need to complete, right? It is based on the requirement objectively for the project to deliver on time. You need to detect and solve it together to improve a code at the same time, improve the design. So I remind again, don't overdo and don't underdo. Okay, so it is a code smell. Sometimes it is you really need to able to understand what is the impact based on the experience, based on the practice that. Okay, the smell is a quick to spot sniffable. That is obviously you can see something like long methods. Method is too long, that is too obvious. You need to. But sometimes also based on the context, naturally this is supposed to be long because no other way that you can take it out. Because once you take it out, it is not making sense in logic flow and also too much intensity. And then you can leave it. But that again is it depend on the context and make sure that it is simple enough for understanding. And then it is a sign that is a closer look is required. Okay, so this is when you do this case by case basic pragmatic, or sometimes all the code smell should be avoided. So this is, I will say that it is just now too extreme. It's not good. Okay, all the code smell, yes, if you have enough time and the team is willing to do, you can do. But sometimes you really see that it is some of the case, right? It is things that it is need to compromise based on the time. Say this stream you cannot solve all the code smell, bring forward to the next one and make sure. But of course, right, all the major issue and exceptions you need to handle. So if that is really impact for the performance and operations, definitely you need to handle. And that is no excuse. Okay, so TDD should be taken care because it's the task will not pass. But the thing is here is we are talking about code smell. So some code smell really don't have a time, will bring forward to the next. That doesn't always indicate it. Sometimes very subtle. And also, right, bear in mind that refactoring, sometimes you do then you introduce very subtle issue in the code also. That is some drawbacks that you're doing. But however, right, is a code smell here I bring back doesn't always show the problem straight away. Okay, so some long methods are fine and people look to see. So you spend a little bit more time what exactly trying to do in this method, and then the behavior, right? Behavior, it is very clear and very simple to understand why we put in this method, and it is a little bit long, should be fine. Okay, so these are the things that is we should look out for the code smell and refactoring technique. Okay, so here, like I mentioned, this is not covering any everything. It is common code smell, then some of our refactoring technique that's suitable to solve it in this case. So long method, like I say, is obviously you can observe from the method too long. You can extract some of parts in the from this method, or you can do introduce the parameter object or other way. So in the workshop, right, you will do hands-on on the look for these code, detect the code smell and apply some techniques. So I give you a hint. I know that it is sometimes it's very hard for you because of just now workshop sharing, right? Because of our language familiarity, not very familiar with this refactoring yet, and of course I do understand. So, but the thing is, my message here is try to detect the code smell that is we can observe and try your best, right? Is to apply suitable technique Okay, so here is a long parameter. Sometimes it's a parameter list is too long, and everything is inside in the method. So you pass everything, and it will be very messy. Okay, so you replace a parameter with the methods. Okay, so you this parameter is a parameter you create a method and you replace it with this. Duplicate code is the one of commonly see, and a bit subtle sometimes. It is very how to say, it is right, it is do the same thing, but yet quite a lot of issue in the at the back ends. So this is where you need to take care. When there's a duplicate code, you need to extract it out, and or you need to use it with this substitute algorithm. So a little bit not familiar with these kind of things. Never mind, I will try to explain if that is relevant in, yeah. So that code, it is a variable or parameter, is not used every. So that means sometimes I will have it, right? As myself, I always say, okay, this is I keep it for future because I know that this will be needed. At the end, is never. And this is sitting there long time. And bigger clumps. So there is also we can find that there's a lot of data is putting together. So this is also related with the design perspective. You need to, where you can decouple it, right, or the individual class. Okay, then you will introduce. So just now, like telephone, you extract the telephone classes itself, and then you will create it based on the parameter objects. Okay, and the lazy class, it is in do nothing much, right? It is that's why it is whenever you have some of a subclass or the parent and child, and so some of the class it is not necessary, then you need to cut it off. Okay, this again related with the design, and if you do that, it will be impact on the design as well, right? So, and another is a conditional. So you implement a new feature, okay, then suddenly the condition logic become complicated and very hard to understand. So you need to replace with the logic with the strategy. This is again in the workshop. I ask you. So sorry, workshop. Okay, no, self-study. Self-study later part, I will explain a little bit more if we have time, how we do this, right? There is a refactor 4 video is explaining how we do it in step by step in the video. So, but never mind. Later, if I have time, I will go through with you together what is this mean. And feature MV, this is where the more interested for certain class, because most of the time the method is used for this class, but it exists in this class. So rather this method transfer into the more interested one. So that is called move method. Then this move method, it is we must only can do after extract. So you need to extract first, then move. Okay, with these kind of explanations, right, you will say, I don't know what I am talking about. So very confusing for you maybe. So I will let me explain with the example. I know lunchtime, so it's a little bit tough for you to absorb some of the parts, but I believe that with the examples, you will be able to understand better. So this example, movie CD render. So this app will be calculating. Okay, right now is no more CDs. Okay, Netflix is one of business model is this one. A long time they fight with the Blockbuster, and they win because they are the one who moved to the streaming business. So, but this is where last time Netflix is how it works. They have a lot of categories. In this case, simplified, regular, children, and new release. So new release is obviously the new movie that come out, and then the category, right, have a different way of computing the render price. Okay, and also to attract more people to rent for my shop, they say there is a loyalty point. Right? Loyalty point will be renter frequent renter. Sorry, is there anything? Stay can see my share screen. Okay, can. So here is the rules. So please be mindful, right? These are the rules that making these some of the methods to a bit more complicated. Yeah, but you need to be mindful about these rules. Regular first 2 days, $2. Subsequent days, every day, $1.50. Yeah, this is simple. So, and the children one, we will allow them the customer to longer because it may take times, right? $1.50 cheaper, and also the same subsequent charging for $1.5 per day, right? After 3 days. And another, it is new release. New release is a simple pricing model because once you choose a new category, you will need to pay every day $3. No, regardless of it is under the categories. Okay. And render point, if you choose any categories, render one CD, 1 point. New release more than 2 days or more than 2 days. I mean 2 days and above will be extra 1 point. Right? So these are the rules. So in that case, right, is the customer, okay, name LS10. LS, it is renting 3 types of movie for different days. Okay, the duration is regular 1 day, children 5 day, and new release is 3 day. So this will be you can use in the test cases, okay, to verify this test case. It is really can compute. And after this run, right, what we need to do in the app, we need to print out this renter record, name of a customer name, and then list of a movie and respective price. These are the price there, individual. And of course, right, here is we catch up how many days we don't stay. Actually, it is a 1 day, 3 day, and 5 day and 3 days, something like this. So this is a total amount it is LS need to pay, and this is a frequent, right? It is because he ran the Batman new release for 3 days and he get extra points. So that is altogether 4 points. Okay, so this is where do you guys have questions on this requirement? I think it's quite simple, right? Isn't it? So how should we implement this? Start with the task case or start with the coding? I don't ask you guys really. So this is a TDD review questions. So we all know that test case is the first. Okay, so this is the initial design. So we have 3 class. One is movie class, render class, customer render. Movie class attribute is a category code. So category just now regular, children, and new release is too messy, so we will change later with the code. So in the movie classifications and title, what movie is named. Render is how many days of this each render, right? It is less. And customer render is more related with the design is for customer plus related with the customer name and all the methods, right? It is based on the render, how many render is, and total how many rendered out. And also, of course, the main thing is a statement. Order to print it out is now the statement, right? This is where you're going to print this in this method. Okay, so list out all the movie CDs rendered by the customer, total amount owed by this customer, and frequent render point and by this. So everything that you see in the outcome that you expected, that it is where our statement method will be printed out. Okay, so here I will say that it is test cases I will talk. Here, in this case, TDD, I create a test case, and I have test features for, I just created some of LS, right, render record over here to test it out. And here, in this case, first case, renting to regular and printed out the statement. So in this case, I just create the object CR. This instance will be having at the render, right, 2 days. Movie is category score regular. If we do that, we expected render record, etc. Customer name, of course, our customer name will be LS 10, and then it should be 2 days, $2. And regular, it is a regular rules, you guys remember, right? 2 days for $2, that's why $2. Endpoint, regular, one render only, so it's a one. So then we will try to compare these two. So these two string value equal, the case be okay. So I design, I create this test case one by one. I purposely here, take a look, create 3 days, right? Because subsequent pricing is there. That's why 3 days, and the amount of the cost would be different. Subsequent is extra $1.50 on top of $2. But render point is stay the same. Same for the children. Children is therefore is 3 days, $1.5. So I test with 3 days first. No. Okay, so once with 3 days, $1.5, render point is 1. So I have a lot of the create the test cases. One, these two is I just show, right? I was do definitely for the new release and combine all these regular children and new release combined, like just now the example. That is a final test case I want to. So I don't go through this anymore. Test case I need to create. Okay, so just now two test case I created, and this is a main test case. Movie will to attribute and getter and setter. Render say to attribute movie. Okay, so it is this how many days it is run. Okay, and then call this movie from the movie. Okay, and here it is the render. The name, customer name, and render it is put in the array list. So all the render will be arranged into array list, and then individually add the render one by one, and this is a total render. Okay, once we add in all these array list, this is the size of our total render, and we will have a statement. As you can see, statement over here, we have a total amount frequent initialize 0, and then we initialize for this printing statement, and we do the for loop. We do for loop. The every render, I just this amount I initialize 0 each render, right? And then decide whether this switch case, right? Whether this category is belong to where. So under individual case, then I will compute what is the price it need to be there. So if more right now, if this is regular, straight away I charge $2. And if check the day of a renting day, rented day is more than 2 days, extra $1. Extra $1, and I just minus off the 2 days. The rest of the days is need to multiply with the subsequent days, right? Multiply 1.5. Exactly same for children, same, but only 3 days is the time it is allowed is 3 days, and the new release is just multiply with the $3. Okay, so this is how we get the each and every and get the price for the each render. Then frequency point, I just edit new point, 1 point for each render. And I add in only new release and more than 1 day. I just add in. That's it. I don't do HPD. Okay, so this is where I get it all compiled into get movie, get title. So movie title, it is where here printed an amount that I just now this amount I print it out and I add in the total amount so that it is a later amount O and frequency point. That's it. So this is all I have implemented in the customer render class. Okay, here I want you to take a look at these codes. Okay, study where is the code smell. What do you think? Based on the code smell that I mentioned, so you don't need to look through the internet. You just look back where the list of a code smell, which kind of code smell you think it is. You let me know, and also inspect the code provided for this. You know where you can improve. Then you can suggest, and you identify 2 code smell and relevant refactoring techniques. You can let me know. So we take for very few minutes, take a break. Okay, so we are about 1 hour already. So let's have a quick break, about 8 minutes. So we get back 2:30. Try to understand just now all the implemented class inside here. Then see what we really can improve, right? Based on the code and the design that it is we put inside. Maybe some of you help to share what code smell it is. And after that, I will show you how we can detect and how we do refactor one by one. Okay, yeah. So short break, quick break. 2:30 we will come back. Okay. Okay. So try to think about the to-do list. What is a code smell and what kind of refactoring technique you can apply. Okay. Okay, if you are coming back from break ready, then show me a thumbs up or show your hand so that as I know that you're back. Thank you. Thank you, Jinai. So yeah, please. Okay. 6, 7, okay, 9. Yeah. Okay. More. Yeah. Yeah. If you're back, yeah, show your hand so that I know. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I think it's okay. Right now is yeah, half of it. Half of a class is here. Thank you. So have you guys study the previous code that is also having the code smell? You guys observe anything from this design and the implementations? Anyone want to volunteers that is share what kind of code smell do you see? Any volunteers? Any volunteer to share the thoughts? What is a code smell that is? Okay. Yeah, if you want to volunteer, you can unmute yourself and talk. Yeah, thank you. Yes, Yishong. Long method. You're right. So long method in where? Anyone want to answer? Which method is too long? Obviously, right? Obviously, one method is too long. Yeah? Yeah, Andres, thank you. Yes. Okay, so as you see, right, long methods, obviously you can detect from the code itself too long. Here is a lot of things happening. Here is a lot happening because you need to know the render, right? Each render, what is the CD? Then from there, what category it is, and you need to calculate the price. And at the same time, you need to calculate the render font. Everything together, and you need to add it up, everything for the total amount as well. So that means that this method is very long and very messy. Another design perspective, anyone think it is another code smell? Do you find? Of course, right? You look up the lecture notes later part, you were able to answer. But I mean, based on your observations, anyone see other code smell that is you think can improve? Duplicate codes. Okay, so duplicate codes, yes, there it is. Where it is duplicate codes is there, but it is for me. I think it is okay. Which place you think is a duplicate codes, Janai? Maybe any methods that you think is have a duplicate code? Yeah. So let me.
The test case.
Oh, okay. Yes. So it's a test cases. You mean this here, right? Isn't it? Are
The
you
customer
talking
rental CR equal to new customer rental. It's
over here?
repeated in like the methods, the test case method.
Okay. Thank you, Jen. So in this case, right, for me, I would say test cases normally you can ignore because right now, yes, you are right that it is this kind of things, right? You may need to reuse it again and again to test it out to make sure the calculation is correct. Because this is where the money calculate, where the algorithm, right, it is not allow you to do much thing. Meaning you key in the day, key in the category itself, you need to call it out and use this for the. Am I right to say that that is what you say duplicated, Janai? I hope that that is what you mentioned about digit. Okay, so if we are talking about implementations in the main body itself, I will say that another thing that it is, okay, inside in this customer render class, this is most related with what? Render, isn't it? This thing is a for loop, and individually get price is all related with individual render. Why not these things should put inside in the render class instead of putting in customer render? That's what I mean. Never mind. Now you don't understand what I'm saying. It's okay. That is two things that it is I can say that it is we will see this issue. Okay, so it's firstly it's a long method that it is obviously statement method is in customer render class. That is too long, too hard to understand. So we need to extract this. So in order to do this, what we can do. But before that, I give you some example how is the extract method works. So in this case, we have it. Allow me to see. Okay, so over here we have this printed out banner and print details, and under the print only. So all these print only will be print out all these banner detail. Instead of this putting in one method, we were putting for separate new methods that it is individual. So in the future, I don't want to start. I want the other way of a banner design. You can do it. So this is a very simple extract method. Of course, this case not much improvement it can be done. But in our case, long method, what we can do is really we can extract it out for statement method. Okay, so here we have this is the original design that it is without get price. So we will extract it out from a get price, and we will calculate the this case condition inside in this get price. So every render, what is the category? Based on the category, the price will be calculated in this method. So I extract it out from statement, but of course, right, I want to make it private because it is only for these statements. Okay, so for this customer render. So here maybe I switch to the Eclipse. Right now, here I have this customer render, exactly what you see here. We have a array list for the renders, and this is a statement that is very long. So extract method, like what we see, this long method, okay, we need to extract out this whole switch case, right? We need to extract it out, cut it out, and put it in the private. So this is what we are planning to do just now, right? It is, we just call it is a private. If this is outcome is the same as this amount, right? After we calculating this amount, so we will say this is this double, and of course, right? It is it will be using this render. So it's a render or whatever the name that it is you would like to do. You would like to put, and you copy and paste over cut and paste it here, and over here I will do this this amount same that is I need to initialize. So after I initialize and I put it here, and of course I need to return, right? I need to return this amount to get this return back. So each just now I cut and paste. This is an individual render, so I replace with the one run for each, and each and everywhere I just replace it. And over here, in this case, for this amount, right, I will, instead of the 0, I just key in the get price for each. Okay, so before that, right, I do whatever I do is because just now I run it. Okay, good practice. I never demonstrate what it is this. I need to run the test. So this is a test case I created. I show some of it only in the lecture notes, but here it is I test 4-day, 5-day, random, all combination test cases. And finally, right, I was able to run it and my JUnit is showing a green color. So every time you do refactor, like what I have done, TDD, right? You need to run the task and make sure it is passed. So right now I make a changes, I refactor it, and now this is time that I make sure this is working fine as well. So so now rest assured this test cases, all the test cases inside here, all individual test cases is all right. 2-day new release, 1-day regular, 5-day children, 3-day new release, which is I printed out over here. Excuse me. And then 4-day children, 3-day children, 3-day regular, 2-day regular. So this is all, like I mentioned, right? Why these test cases? These are the day dependent price charging. One case, test case only because new release is just multiply with the day. And this is a combination. For LS10 example, I just say LS10 and individual moving name and category. So by doing so, okay, I extract it out this switch case and replace with this cat price with this method. This is a change in the design and it is a lot more clearer to read. So this statement is a little more compact. But yet, like I mentioned before, this is purely for render. Why we put it inside customer render? Normally, we should not put. That is where the next code smell, right? It is okay. So this is exactly what I have demonstrated just now. Okay, so is there any benefit after I do refactor to observe? Of course, there it is. Statement method is a shorter and get prices have a meaningful name for individual render, get the price of render based on the category. So individual thing is I extract it out. Another is move. So this is where I will say that get price, we feature and we code smell is get price is in the customer render. All it is dealing with the data are random. Why not this whole method, move to the render class? That would be making a lot more sense, isn't it? Because there is a lot of more changes if in the future, in the get price, additional categories, you just handle in the render class. No need to touch to the customer render class. So we need to make use of move method. But however, you must extract it first. Just now, for long method, we already extracted out. So that is already finished. This is an example of a move method. So we have a shape class and we call another point class and we will give a name pivot. So this pivot will be, of course, right? It have a X and Y inherited for this attribute from the point class. We just printed out X and Y positions inside in the shape. As you can see, right? This is all related with what? Point. And we should put this in the point class rather than the in shape. Why? Why it is so? It is, okay? Why it is we need to, with the 3-dimensional, you need to change here, isn't it? So that is where you need to modify. So modify in such a way that here only one method, print pivot, that's it. Call out over here. So in the white class, you just have this all X and Y, or if you want to add Z, you just edit more attribute and adding one line for printing the Z. That's it. Right? Is it clear, right? It is a lot more easier to handle the data that related for individual class if we put in such a way, isn't it? So the same meaning for the previous example. As you can see, right, from this example, I already run them. Every time DDD say you must run all the tasks that is involved before you do the modifications. So right now, as you can see, this is more relevant for render. So in that case, I will make sure this is no longer sit inside in this customer render. I should move into the this render class. So of course, when we move this, it should not be what? No longer private, and you should not be calling up anything, right? In this case, you just have this amount. You will make it all individually and just delete it. Okay, so this is where you modify or refactor the code based on the move method. So you totally move this get price from customer render class into this render class. Then of course, right, we need to change over here. So here, render one, we have an individual render. So render and each will be over here, and it is not inside, right? So individual each will be called up this method and should be able to perform same thing. Okay, so it is in order to test it out, we need to run this JUnit test, and everything is fine. And that means you rest assured the functionality wise, this is working fine. Even you move here, move there, cut here, there, space here. Okay, so this is where I would say that it is a move method. Individually, you getting closer to the interested class. Okay, so here in the future, if you have more categories, what you need to do is change over here, additional class. That's it, right? Instead of doing over here. Okay, so that is a move method that we going to do for this case. So as you can see, the statement from the get private get price, we move to the render class. Okay. So this is what I have done in the just now my demonstrations. So another code, a little bit more subtle. This is where you see long method. We still think that it is a statement one. It is still too long because it is quite a lot of things involved. Of course, we need to look for individual price, for loop to get the render point, then print it out the total. So if in that case, very, very hard to see because a lot of actions is involved. Instead of doing this render point, you know, and total amount, getting total amount, right? Why not we take it out and replace temporary with the query? Meaning is all these temporary data variable parameter will be replaced with the query methods. That will be making clear And but again, right, it is again subtle. If you think it is really required for this long method to easy readability, you can do so. But here I label is a sub-study. Since I have some time, I will quickly go through, right, how it is can be done with this example. So this is an example for the calculate the total. We have a base price calculations, and then this base price is more than 1,000, calculate 95%. If not, 98%, something like this. If you want to, then instead of doing this whole base price temporary, it will be replaced with query methods. Will be easy. Something like the whole base price, it is changed into query method. That is calculate this base pricing. So I would say that this is again for readability is better. But again, if you really don't have time, I think it's totally fine. But sometimes it is a lot easier if you do this, especially if you change the formula now and then. This formula. Okay, so this is where I would say that it is for our example. We will extract out this, cannot say extract. We replace with temporary parameter with this query method. We have a query method called get total amount and get frequent point. So in order to do this, maybe I go back to the Eclipse and I quickly share with you. So if we doing such a way, what will be impact? It is we decouple. This all frequent random point will be replaced with the query template. So as you can see, like here, the for loop for each render, you get the total, get total amount, and get total frequent point. You compare side by side from here. This is where you need to put this amount, total amount calculate, frequent point. So these two frequent point I extract out and put in the new method. I give a name and get frequent points. Then just return and we replace this temporary parameter with the frequent point. Same for the total amount. The whole for loop I put here and individual get price, call it up and calculate total amount, and all this total amount is replaced with this query method. Okay, so this is clear, right? So we also have each get price also we replace with here, and only the result is very clear. And then you can see that all this amount, frequent point, or temporary variable can be deleted. Okay, any questions on this? This is quite straightforward, right? It is a lot more simpler for statements here to see. As here, once glance, you say that it is going to print it out, these statements, and it will for loop for each render, and it printed out, this printed out data, it is total amount get from query method, get frequent render point, frequent render point from this get query method. That's it. Then you just print it out the result. So it is a lot more easier for statement method to cut short. So this again, it is impact to the design, and this is what I have just now explained. And the last thing for the CodeSmell, it is I would say that it is in the future perspective, if you're going to deal with a lot more complicated algorithm, like the more category come out, the more marketing or charging pricing model, right? You want to be very complicated in the future, you know that. And also you feel like right now it is not that robust enough, right? What you see in the get price method, is the case, switch case, that is not very good. So it is a condition complexity. Gap price method, it is stay complex in terms of. So I would say that it is getting complex, but it is right now, if the workflow and this running CDs is not much getting complicated, you can leave it like this. But in this case, I want to showcase, right, if we want to that it is become complicated and expensive. I mean is in the future, more categories, more pricing model come out, there will be a problem. That's why we will replace with the conditional logic with the strategy. This is again a little bit different. We categorize individual algorithms as a family and consume each other, and then we can make it sure this is called the strategy. So each algorithm is embedded into each category, and based on the relevant event or relevant state, you call it up to use a specific strategy. Just something like that, you will make it a lot more easier. So over here, example, it is several variance calculation, way of calculating for this unused percentage, unused risk amount, outstanding risk amount. There is quite a lot of way of calculation over here, and then we want to make it right. It is with this more simpler. So this is the logic is one variant, another variant, and there is another variant. So you see, if as statements, right, they're getting more and more complicated. So in such case, similar to our one switch case, we will also see like this different variants based on the categories of CDs, and then we would like to make it more easier. So if that is where the strategy you want to, so for each variant, you will dedicate this strategy. So dedicated calculation for strategy instance. So we will create this instance, strategy instance, we will create this reference interface and implement based on the state or the format, the event, right? It's a trigger based on this. Then we will call up an individual strategy we call. Okay, so here we have a render, we have a movie, and then we come out call in the reference interface for iRender price computer. Then this will have a compute price method, and this price compute method can be implemented by this OCaml override method, right? Overriding method by these three implementations: regular, new release. So based on this arrangement, if you have a new categories, you just implement another class based on this interface, and you just override this method. Right? So this is a lot easier in terms of the coding perspective, and then you adjust this design. Okay, so how is the outcomes look like? It will be something look like this. So in the actual one, you see that it is a before that it is a render. So is here render class. You see that it is before have a gap price. Okay, so this gap price we will be accordingly call up based on the compute price. You take a note. This is a interface that is we want to call for based on the strategy that it is with. So if a regular, and then we will call this. We create a new instance, and then we will override or use this overriding method. So here, individual implementation. So we need to create this interface. We need to individually regular price computer that is implement on iRender price, and we will put the algorithm. Okay, and same for the new one. New one is a lot more simpler, and of course the children one, it is also more than 3 days. Just calculate. So whatever under the switch case conditions, right? I replace over here, and calling up in this set the random price computer, and it will be called up from the cap price. You will be compute individually. Okay, so with this, right, our the category, if you in the future you want to add in more category, life is a lot easier, and also the way of computing the pricing model change, it will be easier also. Got it? So it is one. I would say that it is design perspective. It will be influenced, okay, how you're going to change refactor, right? It will be changing the design as well. And also, of course, in the design and code refactoring, how it works for individual use cases. So this is what I have shared with you just now. And then this is a step-by-step, right? You can set the random price computer and get the category. Okay, so this is exactly, if you really want to study and try out, you can copy and paste and in the Java, create as a Java project. Whatever code that I explained, you can implement inside in your project, and you can test it out. But however, this is a very, very simple one. If you want a more and a challenging one, like I mentioned, you need to practice along with the textbook or some article that is available online. There is quite a lot of things you can study and you can practice also. Okay, so I will pause here for a while. Any question on this example? Because it is, right, I will say the step-by-step one, I will say that it is how we see this code smell and how we see to improve it with this relevant refactoring technique based on the experience, like I mentioned, and practice that you have you used to do to make it getting more and more readable, understandable. At the same time, you make sure that it is, right, people would like to change it for the future, right? Maintainability. Any debugging process also, life will be a lot easier, isn't it? Okay, so in that case, I will say if you have a questions, you do let me know. Just now, thanks for the some of the answer that you guys share. I believe that it is normally would be trying to clean up refactor for the main body for this code smell, and then of course, right, is you have time, you will spend time on this test case classes that is involved also to try to improve as well. But main body is normally we try to make sure that this is working well, and especially, right, that's just now statement method. It is very long and a lot of things happening, and normally that is where you spend time. And I'm sure in your project, normally that is what happened to you also, because it's against the timeline. We all, right, to deliver the results. If you can write this kind of a statement method, very long, but this can deliver according to the requirement, we're very happy. But normally that is a case that is we move forward and we will try to attend another requirement. But that's why it is where the code review sessions, you do refactoring, you do this. If you have a time allow, you can refactor systematically to make it more readable. At the same time, make it more simpler. Of course, right, there is additional time and efforts that you need to do for this detecting code smell and refactoring. But the thing is, that's why I would say the timing also very important. If you really want to do refactor, rule of 3 before we add that new functionality for this. Then we should do. Okay, and after we fix bugs, so that is again, right? It is we fix bugs already, then we run the test case. It is making fine, it's running fine, all the test cases pass. And when we do the performance code review, that is where you need to do it. Okay, all the time when the code smell, but you must be beware. If you see the statement like a statement method like just now in the example, you see that it is a lot of potential problem you can come up, and this is where you want to, okay, learn something new about code. But that is when you have time, right? So it's normally it's during the code review sessions. Okay, so try to allocate time together, make agreement within the team, and to do the refactoring. When the tasks are not passing, not to refactor. So this is a very, very, very important. Like I mentioned, if you do that, it's at your own grave, you will be you will regret on these actions because you're getting more complicated. Okay, so try not to do that. And when you have an impending deadline, this is normally what happens. So you will see that every time deadline is too tight and you don't have enough time, then you need to really time to show and convince, right, all the stakeholders plus the product. The long run, this is not a good healthy, because if you don't do refactoring, you will be having an issue because there is a deadlines, all the deadline. But of course, right, some urgent project you don't have this kind of time to do. But again, as a team, try to practice and do with somebody. So like I mentioned, our logic is fixed sometimes. You don't see the other way wrong to improve. Same that is, you look at the other people code and other people look at your code. If you can point that there is a potential deeper problem can come up, right? Then that is where you can point out and do help each other, do the pair programming. Pair programming normally don't do, right? It is very long. You have this kind of code review sessions, or you want to do refactor, they come maybe spend 1.5 hours or 2 hours for that sessions to refactor each other. You take a look at my code, I think it's fine. How do you think? And you do the other person's, look at the other persons and do the help to refactor. So that is where we can take advantages of do pair programming. So do together with somebody will be helping quite a lot. Okay, so problem refactor, that is where challenge. Sometimes you may introduce a subtle bugs, right? You don't know where it is. That's why it's also it will be coupled with the TTD. Test case is a safety net. As long as the test case are passed and the test case designed nicely, very robustly, then you don't need to worry. As long as it's a test case passed, and then you will be able to. But sometimes it may be you will see along the way some bugs because of us. Yeah. But trying to make it perfect also can be a problem. It will lead to the very, very nitty-gritty to take care of everything, and you always say it's not enough time because you make it perfect. The more you dig, the more you discover, the more you dig yourself in the hole, and you don't know how to come out of this. Refactoring and code doesn't work. That is just now what I mentioned. Don't do that. That would be a issue, biggest issue. I would say that. Refactoring publish. So this, it is again, right? It is very much rely on this dependency, hierarchy. You maybe try to be cautious. When you do this refactoring, the consequence that is you introduce, then you never know that, right? So that is where I think communication is there. So when you do refactoring, every time you need to introduce and inform the team properly. Yeah. Okay. So this is problems with the refactor. And refactoring the database can be super difficult. I always say that it's challenging, but it is sometimes quite difficult to say. But of course, it's quite a lot of tips and approach you can do to overcome. Refer text systematically, don't it? So this is a benefit, right? It is, I don't need to say many things. Like just now, comparison from example, it's more readable, it is extendable and modifiable, obviously. And then continuously improvement of a design of a software is possible, right? In terms of a quality wise, in terms of a design improvement, you will beat it. Okay. Then refactoring will play a vital role achieving agility. Yeah, so it is agile software development, agility. This is where you make it more expandable, scalable. At the same time, it is flexible enough to change your code. Like what I mentioned just now, like strategy replacing for this with the algorithm, right? It is really make it more agile, right? In case there was it is sure that is more categories coming up, more complicated pricing model will come up. That's why I'm making sure that kind of a strategy approach, so that it is very clear and we don't need to change all the dependency. Okay, so as a summary, refactoring is a technique they use to clean up, right? It is very messy code. You want to so there can be a very obvious one and there can be a very hard to detect. That is, again, I say it's based on your experience. You will be able to, but you, in the project that you will prepare out, or there will be a lot of senior developers that you will be working together, learn from them how they do this code smear, detect code smear, and you have a question, voice out why you do this, and sure they have an answer very clear what code smell you try to guess and confirm with them. And also, of course, right, it is code smell can be indicate the design problem. So you can also pinpoint what design improvement you can be done based on this code smell. If you improve the you do the refactoring, it really improve the design and code as well. Okay, and refactoring technique help in elevating the code smell. And many technique, Martin Fowler, you can visit this website if you want, or you can get a copy of this one. This is the pioneer of DDT and Martin Fowler right together. There is quite a lot of a technique, and of course, right, there is a lot of other teaching to do this refactoring accordingly. And then mostly this our content also, I borrow a lot of example from this Martin Fowler, because this is a very easy to understand the example and very to the point. You can understand. Okay, so I think it is refactoring. Any questions from your end? Like again, code smell is not that easy. You need to practice. You can download some of the codes from this copy and you can practice it yourself. And also, of course, like I mentioned, you just type it in the internet. There is a lot of more other websites that teaching you to do their refactoring and give a tips that it is of course, right, normally if you want to do the proper learning through this book, you can follow up and you can practice yourself to master it. Okay, so any questions, do type in the Zoom chat. I will wait for a while. If not, we will go for a short break. The short break let's go for this until 3:30, and then I will explain the workshop instruction that it is for is refactoring. At the same time, I will divide you guys in the group to do this refactoring workshop. There will be 2 use cases you guys need to tackle. Actually, I put it quite easy. you can find it yourself, but I will explain later after I come back from the break. And I'm not sure there is a breakout room I should randomize again, or I just put. So I will see how is that. Then I will share with you the grouping that is I make you or put inside in that group. It's a 14 group, and same thing that is you will tackle this workshop problems, and do the presentations. Yeah. Okay. So I will stop here and break until 3:30.